This question has three parts. I was reading Tafsir Kabir, sir. I want understanding of these. اسلامی احکام کے مطابق روٹی کپڑا مہیا کرنا حکومت کا فرض نہیں. That's first.
اسلامی احکام کے مطابق
روٹی کپڑا مہیا کرنا حکومت کا فرض نہیں ہے.
I see.
حکومت کا فرض ہے. Sorry.
This is exactly what I wanted to tell you. That there must be some misprint.
Sorry, I've read wrong, sir. And second bit is, اسلام نے دنیا میں مالی مساوات قائم کرنے کا حکم نہیں دیا. Now this is
مالی مساوات in what sense? Read the full passage.
اسلام نے دنیا میں
No, this you have already read. I'll explain. I know what you mean. What Hazur Muslim Maud meant. The fact is that there are two aspects. One needs, and one the manner people are permitted to earn, and the limitations imposed upon the earnings. As far as the earning is concerned, there is no injunction of the Holy Quran or of the tradition of Huzur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam which prohibits private interference, individual enterprise, private enterprise and individual enterprise. And there is no limitation imposed upon what an individual may earn. So in that sense, there is no mali musawat. As far as your capabilities to earn are concerned, you can earn as much as you please. And perforce your money will not be taken and distributed to others, nor your means will be appropriated. But there are certain injunctions of the Holy Quran and of interpretation of those injunctions in the traditions of Huzur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, through which we understand that there are very strong fixed rules of ethics and morality applicable to the economic system of Islam. You are permitted to do this and not that, do that and not this, and so on and so forth. So those limitations which we find in Islam by way of earning are imposed on the manner of earning. You can earn in this way and not in that way. And this system of moral imposition is found nowhere in the world in any other system. There are very strict moral obligations which have to be fulfilled by anyone who wants to earn. And so much so that people think that it is an interference in their liberty. And this question has been raised even before. When Hazrat Shuaib started preaching to the people and he gave them an economic concept of economic morality, this is exactly the allegation raised against them, that who are you to interfere in our financial system and in our personal liberty to earn our money as we please. So the Holy Quran is very strict on this. If you follow this, plus the general principles laid down concerning the economic system of Islam, then these huge cartels cannot develop at all. Then also you should read it in connection with the system of zakat. It stands quite distinctly apart from the system of banking. The motive forces are completely different. One is positive and the other is negative. But of this I don't want to speak here because it's a subject which requires much longer treatment. But all these factors taken together are responsible for keeping a balance in the distribution of money. despite the fact that there is no ultimate limitation imposed, yet because of the systems being balanced, the philosophy being balanced, the net result is a balanced appearance of economy. So this is what Hazrat Muslim Maud wants to say, that in the name of equality, you cannot distribute wealth equally and among all the members of a state. But on the other hand, their basic and fundamental rights are established. No one would be permitted to fall below this basic standard. And in that basic standard, roti, kapda and makan and libas, these four things are covered. Bread, clothing and shelter and roti, kapda and makan and there are three things, I'm sorry. Kapda, covering, three things, they are covered basically. But also there is a very clear indication that in Islamic society, man should be given an opportunity to develop his capabilities to the maximum. So that is the fourth point which comes into play, which is not defined, but it is the responsibility of the state that if anyone has higher capabilities and less means available to develop those capabilities, it is the responsibility of the state to provide him with means so that the gifts of Allah are not wasted. That is inferred from other verses of the Holy Quran. So these four things make the whole, not the whole, but the fundamental economic concept as far as the spending is concerned on behalf of the state. The state is responsible for food, for shelter, for clothing, that is the minimum. And also for developing the individual capabilities. Now, if the individual earning, on the one hand, acquires a volume which leaves the state poorer to the extent that the state cannot fulfill the basic requirements of its citizens, then the state is given a right to interfere in the individual earnings only to the extent that the basic fundamental rights of the people, of the citizen, are fulfilled. That is why at certain times, Ahmad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is known to have collected the entire properties of the people and redistributed them equally among all. Now that was an exceptional decision during a crisis, when if Hazur Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had not done it, some might have had some superfluous food with them, or things, whatever they were, and some might have been left to starve. So that is to say, a situation had arisen in his time where the fundamental requirements of the people had demanded this equal distribution. So then he ordered everybody should pool whatever he has, and when everything was pooled, then he redistributed equally. So some people infer from that communism, the seed of communism was sown. It is totally wrong, because when that situation was over and he returned to normalcy, then he never did it. The principle which has to be understood and it's very important principle to understand the actions of our Hazur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is this, that if he has deviated from his past practices and adopted a new method, and then he has not left it till his life, till his death, then that would mean that he has nullified his previous practice, and the new practice is now the official version of Hazur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's tradition. That is good, and the previous is cancelled out. But if for a situation temporarily he deviates from his past practice and then returns again to the past practice after the situation is over, then this inference cannot be drawn. Then the inference would be that that action remained limited to a certain situation, and during the normal course, his previous action was as good as, is to be held good. So this is that situation. A time of war when the Muslims were engaged in a battle of life and death, then that shortage appeared, so that every man could not be provided with his basic needs. So he pooled the resources and redistributed them. So in those situations, that instruction of Hazrat Muslim Maud will not be valid, because it doesn't mean in that sense. He has said both things together. That Islam says these basic requirements are to be met, and Islam does not conceive a system or instructs you to behave in a manner that the whole wealth should be equally distributed. This is the meaning. Is it clear?
Yes.
I hope so.
Little question on this. There used to be practice of Baitul Mal once upon a time. Is it possible to have that practice in true Islamic state against us?
They are having the national treasury, and the exchequer is the Baitul Mal. Every Muslim state, like any other state, has a national treasury, haven't they? And their own exchequers of the government. So they are the Baitul Mal.
Not purely that.
No, but then if you want the pure Baitul Mal, that you can find in Rabwa. There we have a Nazir Baitul Mal and a pure Islamic Baitul Mal. Haven't we?
Third question, third part of the question. In the Holy Quran, Allah Ta'ala has said in Surah Baqarah, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ قُلْ لِلْعَفْوِ. Could you kindly explain?
In fact, I have partially explained it. The fact is that the basic requirements cannot be taken by the state. And the maximum that Islam allows you to spend in the way of Allah, in the path of Allah, is what is left over from the basic requirements. So you are not permitted to pay your chanda to the extent that you starve your family or do not look after their fundamental requirements. So Islam says, Kulil afu, whatever is left over from your basic requirements, that is the limitation. Up to that you can spend, but not beyond. Yes, please.